We all set now? Everything
Yep,
working?
it should
Checking all
be. Hopefully,
channels?
fingers crossed.
Audio, video, person, will exist? Excellent. All right, cool. Hello, everyone. Welcome
Oh,
to another episode of the AniMates. Today we're going to be doing a
wait,
little. Oh,
pause, pause. I have like eight of you open. Hang on. There we go. Try again.
okay. Now we get.
Yeah.
Can everyone hear me? Is everything working?
That's awesome.
By
All
the way,
right.
I can't see
So,
chat at all, so.
okay, sure.
Cool.
All right. So today we're doing things a little bit differently. Normally we do interviews and do discussion things like that. We thought we'd vary it up just a little bit today. So we're going to be doing a multi-work stream. So today with me on the call is Elise. She is an animator at Digital Extremes and is a self-proclaimed underwater origami expert. Henry is also on the call with us. He is a senior animator at Electronic Arts and is a 3-time consecutive winner of the Dubai Pillow Fighting Championship. So, and of course I'm Sherlama and I make a half-decent PB&J. So let's go around the horn and you guys talk about what you're going to be working on today. So Henry, I see you on the far left. What are you going to be doing?
So today I'll be kind of rigging up a character for you guys. So it's just kind of starting from like a mesh with no bones or anything like that, and just kind of just getting things set up so so an animator can actually kind of start going and playing around with it. So adding joints, adding control rig, and then a little bit of weighting for the character. Yeah.
Excellent. And you're doing that in Maya, looks like?
Yeah, I'm using my here 2018, and I'll have just a few little tools that I just got online. I'll talk about that in a little bit.
Cool. Excellent. And then Elise, you're on my left side, it looks like. What are you going to be working on today?
Right side for everyone else viewing.
Okay, gotcha. Just a heads up, I'm looking at the stream right now. It looks like your screen is a little cut off on the far right side.
10. Cool. And also, yeah, a bit of a disclaimer as well. I'm not a rigger, so this is kind of my own personal process as well. So definitely, it's not um, yeah, we'll learn as we go. It's not I'm not saying this is the best and only way of how to do things.
Of course, of course. But on some level, we're all new at this. There's always something new to be learning, something new to be developing, things like that. So no, it's okay to be lost in the ether a little bit. All right, so let's start with Henry here. So in your opinion, is it important for animators to know how to rig?
No, I don't think it is. I think it's helpful if uh no worries. Because I think it's a whole different beast. I think it's important for an animator to know how to use the rig properly and work with it, and then also be able to kind of communicate to their tech artists or the riggers what they need to do, um, um, so they can create their animations easily and not have to go through a million steps. But rigging is really difficult. So learning to animate and to rig is it's going to take a lot of time and it's going to be really hard. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
rigging is absolutely a scary, scary thing, very technically difficult. But I would agree with you. I'd say, at least understanding rigging to the point where you can talk about it with other departments and really kind of convey your troubles is a really, really vital skill to have. Just kind of having that departmental literacy is an extremely useful skill. At least, what do you think
Yes.
about that? Yeah, it's understandable. And really, you don't really need to know all that much about rigging. Like, if you can understand the whole concept between local and world space, and then you know how to do parenting constraints and using how to use locators, then that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
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 So you may
Yeah.
not need to
Totally.
be a rigger, but I like to do what I call jury rigging, which is where you just kind of like duct tape small rigs onto the side of existing rigs just to make things work and kind of work through your shot.
Oh yeah, totally right. Just playing with constraints and all that like that can save you like a lot of time, right? And a lot of headaches.
Oh yeah, a ton of time. So at least what made you want to do 2D animation today? Hmm. Hmm. No, and I can totally understand that too. I had the same exact situation where, I love 3D animation, but if I go home and I keep 3D animating all the time, I'm gonna get burnt out on it. So it's nice to have something that is like industry adjacent. It's still a creative output, but it's a totally different discipline. Like I do digital painting, and that's been a great way to kind of yeah. A lot of people get into that. Elise, are you muted? Because Libra Geek's saying that they can't hear you. You say something.
Yeah. I can hear her. Can the stream? Oh, that. Oh.
Yeah, but she's the one streaming. Oh, you're trying to use like
Oh.
a microphone tablet or something?
Hello,
Uh-oh.
hello. Oh,
Yeah.
they should be able to hear me now. Is that okay, guys? Sorry about that.
How's this?
How's
Audience
that?
says?
Chat room. Well, Liba Geek, I'm looking at you.
Yeah, keep saying stuff.
Oh, hello,
Try to recite a
hello.
poem or
Yeah,
something.
okay.
Okay, now it's good. I'm
Recite a
good.
poem. Hello.
Excellent. Cool. So,
Thank you.
that being said, you want to repeat every
Oh,
little
yeah.
thing?
Okay, let's recap. Okay, I do think it's good for animators to know some rigging. Basically, I agreed with Henry. It's really cool if animators know some rigging because it means that if you want to go off and do your own things, you're not like constrained by it. Haha, constrained joke. And also, like, animators have to use props and stuff all the time. So if you have a bit of rigging knowledge, you can make your animations way better, way quicker because you know that little bit. But then if you go too far into it, it's like, okay, either I got to start learning scripting, or I'm just kind of wasting my time because there's so many like little processes with rigging that you need to do over and over again that unless you're scripting stuff, it starts to become, diminishing returns. And I think every animator who goes into rigging gets to the point where it's like, I could either be learning more about animation, or I could be becoming half as good of a rigger as any other rigger. And then, like you said, with the having a creative outlet when you get home through painting, that's what I'm doing with 2D. Yeah. I can show you my various attempts. They're quite fun.
Oh yeah, let's
Sure,
check it out.
absolutely. Go
Oh,
for it.
and as I said, I am not a 2D animator. My drawing skills have gone down the pan. So this is not is a good example of how to do 2D animation, but I'm trying to figure out how to do it. So I've gone through a lot of different iterations of doing the same thing to try and, you see this is attempt 6 or 7, I think. So so this was like attempt 1. I don't know if it's gonna play nicely, but she's saying there's like dialogue that goes with it, and he's basically making fun of her for hitting on someone, and she's like annoyed that he's making fun of her. So she's like, "What? No, she does have a nice face." So that's that line. She's what? Yeah. So she's annoyed, and then she's like talking to him. So yeah. So that was like attempt 1. I need to get rid of this.
Cool.
And then
What software are you using for this?
this is Krita, which was it's actually mostly used for drawing, but it's free, and it's one of the best free 2D things I've found. So I just like the fact that it's free. Oh, and then here was some more tries at the end bit. And then here was, I'm going to go hardcore and just do everything in lines. But then I realized that was really difficult to try and get to the end process that quickly. So now I've gone back again to... Oh, no, I didn't. No, there was another stage where I decided to clean up all my line work because I thought it would be easier, and that was too complicated. So now I'm back to basics again. So, but it's been fun.
So what's
figuring
your
it out.
process like?
So, for the 2D stuff?
Yeah.
Well, so far it's been keep it simple, and then no, that's too simple. There's too many scratchy lines. I can't see what I'm doing. And then maybe if I refine it more, it'll make sense. And then no, it kind of doesn't make sense. Back to basics again. And I've also been watching a lot of this channel. I've been watching a lot of Aaron Blaze doing 2D, who's one of the Disney animators who worked on like he worked on Brother Bear and like Beauty and the Beast and that kind of thing. So he's amazing to watch. And then also there's creatureartteacher.com. Shout out. And then there's another 2D site I found that was called, I don't know, it's got like a little yellow dog. I'll figure out what it's called. It's called like Boing Animation or Boing Studios. It was like this really cool 2D YouTube channel I found where he talks about what he's doing, and one of the things he suggests is doing more flipping, where you do like this kind of thing, than using onion skinning, which is when you do this, where you turn on the light box and you try and do it looking at your next drawing, although I have mine turned on really light, it would be more like this. And then you try and do it based off of, so he said try not to do it this way because you try and just go line here, let's meet in the middle, and that's not usually the best way of doing it, sort of thing. You kind of lose the character. So, yeah, I'm figuring
the chat says Tonico. Is that the
Tonico? Let me see. He's got like a little yellow dog.
Yeah, I'm now that they say Tonico, I remember that now. Yeah.
But I swear it's called something like
That's my villain.
Boing something Studios. I don't know, but he's got a really cool channel. Let me try and find it. It'll probably be in my like recently watched or something.
But in the meanwhile, Henry, what are you working on specifically right now?
Cool. Yeah. So I'm trying to character. So this Link character, I was fortunate to grab a bit off of I'm gonna butcher this pronunciation, but Philemon Belom off of ArtStation. I saw this character, this Link character, and I was like, oh, this looks amazing. I gotta get it and animate it with him. So he was Philemon was nice enough to kind of to send him over. So I have this mesh here, and then I'm like okay, now how do I rig this thing? I'm not a rigger. So what's been really helpful was to grab a rigging tool called Rapid Rig. I think it was like you can get it online. I can't remember how much it was. It wasn't too expensive, but basically what it allows someone like myself who's not a rigger to rig. So what the first steps was to, let's see, let me bring this in to how, let me delete this actually. Let me show you this. I can't delete it. But anyways, it gives you this this little toolbox. You create like you can set your sliders, how many fingers, you set your spine.
Oh, that's
And all
cool.
that. Yeah, and then you kind of create this skeleton here, and then now I'm just kind of matching it to my geo. What's nice, it kind of like there's a left to right thing as well, so you can kind of mirror. You only have to kind of I guess position the joints for one side. And once you're happy with it, like say I'm happy with this, I can go generate a rig. You can add like tune arms and legs, so that basically lets you have like squash and stretch or like extra joints in the limbs to play around with. And generate rig, generate rig only, and give it a few seconds, and you should have a rig up and going.
Wow, that's nice. I haven't actually
That is
tried a lot of the like auto rig stuff, and I
Yeah.
hear it's gotten so much better than the days where I used to try it and be like, ah, this is just a
Oh, yeah.
mess. Yeah. And we were
I've
just always
had-
told, like, don't ever use it because it gives you
Don't
such
ever.
terrible hierarchy and you can never fix anything and this kind of thing.
Oh, like I've never used this for like a to put into game or anything like that. Like it's always for like just like a personal animation, so I don't know if it'll work if you're putting it into a project or so. But like to animate in Maya, I've found it to be really good. But yeah, so after hitting that button, now I have a rig, like with FKIK switchers.
Wow, that's so cool. Where did you get it from,
Has
you
it-
said?
It's called Rapid Rig.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard of that one. It's one of the better ones.
Let me see if I can find the site. But if you do a Google search for it, it should show up. There's a couple of versions of them. The one I have is the older one, but I think the newer one allows you to rig up like creatures and like all sorts of like characters with like multiple limbs, and like if you're doing like an octopus or
Oh.
a dragon like that,
Cool.
like yeah, I think the new version gives you those options.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just posted a link in chat. Now, how are the skinning tools for it? Does it help you out in that aspect?
No, I haven't found it to help me. I think I've just used the default Maya skinning tools.
Okay.
So let's see.
Skinning.
Yeah, I figured skinning would be one of those things that you can't just click a button and make it all better.
You have to go through the pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think you want the computer to do the skinning. I think there's more of
No.
an art with skinning.
There is, absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah. Unfortunately, it's that part is not as automated.
But still, like doing the joint positions, the controls and all that, and setting up your attributes, that's 80% of the battle right there. So the fact that they could take all of that out and just leave you to do the artistic part of rating, then fine. Excellent.
Speaking of handy tools that Maya should have made but hasn't, but other people went and did it anyway, guess who we're having on next week for an interview?
Who?
Ooh.
Alan! Whose name is too hard to pronounce. Alan C. from Animbot. Yay!
Oh, excellent. Yeah,
I'm not
that
going
should
to
be a
try
lot
and
of fun.
pronounce it without him expressly telling me exactly what it is, because I'll probably make an idiot of myself. But yeah, that's going to be really fun to actually see. He says the launch has gone really well, so I'm hoping that he can still like keep working on it and everything. Because it's a
Yeah.
really great set of tools.
Yeah, that's great. I just picked up Animbot, so I'm playing around. Super impressed with everything in it so far.
Yeah.
Like I barely scratched the surface, and like I think it's totally worth it. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really great.
And that's like
Just
one
like-
of the coolest websites ever. Like,
Yeah.
when they showed up every single one of their features on the same.
Oh, yeah.
It's neat.
Yeah, it's great. The little like YouTube video he did, where it was, I can't remember. He's got some like there's some nice comedy in it. And I remember like I got to my new studio and everyone was like, "Oh, that's that like weird toolbar you have at the bottom, Maya." And I was like, "Oh, it's a AniMbot." And they were like, What's that?" And I was like, "Oh my god, the amount of joy I'm about to share with you guys. You don't even know." And then they'd like keep coming over and being like, "Oh, so if I wanted to like reverse the animation," I'm like, "Oh yeah, you just do that." And they're like, "It's one button," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's one button." And they was like, "Oh my god, this is so amazing," and all this kind of thing. And if I had just wanted to, yeah, it's like, you normally have to like mess around with it. There's a lot of people don't know this, but there's like a little search feature that's on the very far right of the toolbar. And sometimes if you're just like, there's this thing I want to do, and you just like write it in the little search bar, it'll come up with a bunch of options. So that I found is quite a good way of figuring out where a bunch of the stuff is. But yeah, like just I just want to reverse the animation. I was without it for 2 days, and it was wasn't even funny how like slow my work thing was. Like you can do this thing where you can just make a temporary pivot. I use that all the time. So let's say you're rotating something and then you want to rotate it from a different area. You just click a button and you move it to the new area, and then you do your thing. And then when you click off, it's gone. It hasn't broken all the animation, or it's just the best.
A one-time aux pivot kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's cool. What I like about it is you don't have to learn the whole thing in one go. It's quite daunting, I think, if you try and are like, "Oh, you have to learn everything." It's like, nah, you'll just pick things up. It's not. You don't have to go whole hog. But then when you find that new thing that saves you a ton of time, you're like,
Yeah, I have not incorporated it into my workflow yet. Like I tried doing it for the last animation I did at home, but I had to use 2017 to do it.
yeah.
And apparently either my computer can't handle it, or Maya can't handle it, or something can't handle it, because I couldn't get it to work at a reasonable pace. Like my computer was just way too slow to animate quickly. So I'm still stuck in 2013 right now. But it is my goal that once I finish my current animation, then...
Like, using the AniMbot was too slow?
Yeah.
Like certain tools of it, or just kind of loading it up, or
just running.
just running?
That could just be a Maya 2017 on my computer kind of thing. Like my computer is really old to begin with, so it might not be up to par with taking on that task. But I'll troubleshoot it once I finish this thing.
Wow, how sexy does 2019 look, though?
Oh my god.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh my god. Yeah, I actually did. I did a performance test at work.
Yeah.
Me and my tech lead, we sat down at his computer. He had 3 of our production rigs, which have like 250 plus bones in them.
Yeah.
And we had 3 of the characters. There was keys on every single bone, every single frame. And we tried taking that scene in 2014, and we ran that. And then we tried that exact same scene in 2019.
No.
In 2014, we were getting about 8 frames per second.
Yeah.
We had some beefy computers.
Yeah. It's still impressive.
And then in 2019, it was 30 plus frames per second. Like it was so smooth.
No.
And with a very, very minimal amount of caching.
Oh my god.
And so like
Nice.
the way it works is it keeps trying to like cache your animations so that when you hit play, it just has it all in memory and you can just cycle through it really fast. But I thought the caching would take forever because in the past, Maya's been really slow about caching. But this was like almost instant. I was so stoked to see it. And then plus they have things like Motion Builder Story Mode is coming to Maya 2019. The graph editor has gone through major changes.
No way.
And the graph editor is on GPU. So it's like a lot of the performance issues for setting keys, moving keys, things like that should be a lot faster.
Oh, nice.
So I'm super excited for 2019. I hope beyond hopes that we switch to that for the next show here. But
side note, you were right. It is Tonico Pantoja. I don't know. I swear it was called something else though, but I found the YouTube channel. He usually introduces it as something else, like something workshop. Oh yeah, PWOW workshop. I think it's like a sub-series, but yeah, no, his stuff's been really cool for looking at 2D stuff. If you, I can't write it down anywhere, but I'll write it on here. because you can see my screen. Oops. 1 minute. T-O-N. Okay. O. P-A-N.
And by the way, for everyone currently watching, I'm going to be moderating the stream, so these guys can focus on working. I'll be driving the conversation. If you have any questions, feel free to ping either Shrill Llama or the AniMates channel, and I'll be sure to forward the questions to either of these people.
Yeah.
Until then, you can look at my face and watch me do product placement for Peace Tea.
I like
So
that
we get
this
some
is,
discounts? Is that what we're doing? What's happening?
God, fingers crossed. Drink this stuff like water.
I like the fact that this is like the AniMates go rogue, because we're kind of like, well, we don't really do this kind of stuff, but it's still stuff that a lot of animators try and do anyway, so it's not relevant.
Yep, Brian, something new.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you got to do it once in a while.
I find this. I need to do this step to let me animate more. I guess cause I like animating with like characters that like just kind of like motivates me to animate. I guess. So like for this, when I saw this character, there's no rig or anything. So I need to do this step, get it set up, then I can play around and animate and have fun with it. So that's why I kind of really like being able to do this and having access to all these tools.
Well, there's just something special about doing an animation on a rig that only you've used. Nobody else has that character on the web right now. Like it's gonna be your own unique thing.
Yeah, I think you run into that when you end up seeing a ton of, especially not student work, but like all the free rigs that even like we all use a lot because they're free and why not? They're good. You just see them so much at one point where you're like, oh yeah, that's the Mary rig. Oh yeah, that's the Stuart rig. And yeah. So when you see someone different, it's like, ooh, what's going on here? Did he get like where can I find that rig? That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then if you find out it's like not a free one or it's like locked down to something, it's like when someone's like, oh, that's a really cool coat, and it's like, oh yeah, cool, I got it in Japan. You're like, well.
Yeah, totally.
Don't know how
And then you
relevant
get a
that
job,
is,
and
but
suddenly you realize the paywall's not that steep anymore.
yeah, it's true. You suddenly get to that point where it's like, if it'll save me time, I'll just get it. Like, whatever. It's like, what's the price? I don't care. Save me so much time. Just give me the thing.
Like Kyle Figgins rigs.
Yeah.
A lot of them have a price point to them, and as a student, if I saw that something cost $40, I'd be like, no, bye, I'm done.
Yeah.
I gotta eat for the next month.
Yeah. It's like, well, I can either get, some milk or the sexy new rig. It's like, well, food is important.
Yeah. But then you end up getting the sexy rig anyways because...
Yeah, because that animates a life.
You make poor decisions.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm having a lot of fun just like figuring out when you pick up something so new that you don't even know how to learn it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm at that stage.
Yeah.
Where it's like if I wanted to do some 3D, I'd be like, oh yeah, here's probably a good way to jump in, and I know my skill level enough that I know, oh yeah, this is too hard and this is too easy, but this is like, I don't even know what I'm doing yet, so I just see how it goes.
Yeah, there's something really fun about the novelty of learning a new skill.
Yeah.
Or just that steep learning curve, you're just kind of like staring up at it and be like, yeah, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah. Like, oh, look at that big old hill.
Yeah.
That big old mountain.
Yeah, I had that with learning scripting.
Okay.
It just seems so daunting at first, but then you start climbing up and you're just like, oh, new thing, and it's also new, it's also exciting, it's also fun.
Yeah.
And then you get to the point where the fun goes away and it's just about learning now, and then you're like,
Yeah. Plus, like, I always watched 2D animations as a kid. I think we all grew up on Disney and stuff, so it's kind of like, it feels very nostalgic to be like, oh wow, they're so amazing. I wish I could do that. And then I think I got to one of those days where I was like, well, why don't I? There's nothing stopping me. It's not like, I don't know. It just kind of hits you, I think. Like, oh, I want to make games for a living. You can. Sorry? What? Oh,
yeah, never had that moment.
No?
No. When I was going through school, there was like zero animation or video game educational institutions. And so every time I was like, hey, video games are cool, animation's cool,
Everyone's like, get a real job.
but that's not a job. Yeah, like, that's not
Yeah.
a career I can do. That's not something I can actually choose to do. So like to give you like a point of reference, every time people are like, hey, wow, you're really good at art. You know what you should be? An architect.
Yeah.
That was my only option as an artist, was to be an architect. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but like I had no desire to do architecture whatsoever.
Yeah. I actually had a friend that I remember in school being like, "Oh, I think I'm going to go into architecture," and I always saw it as so like disconnected from what I wanted to do, like creative wise. And then it always seemed so like technical, and she was always like really mathematic and physical, like into physics and all that kind of thing. And then I went to uni, and they're like, "Oh, a really good option is to go into architecture and do archviz," and I was like, "Wait, what? Like that's with that close of in the
Hmm.
spectrum?" That kind of blew my mind.
Yeah. And it's the same thing with film and video games. Like when you hear that film studios are using Unreal to deal with their lighting and things like that, just as like a previs thing or just kind of blocking out what they want to see, that blows my mind. The fact that the line is becoming so blurred that we can kind of cross over and be happy,
Yeah.
like that excites me. I love that.
Yeah, that's amazing. The rendering and like just the tools in Unreal are so powerful that yeah, it's awesome to hear that the film studios are using it as well.
So Henry, you had your boy there surfing on a shield. Is that animation or is that just the way you're setting up the rig right now?
Um, so so usually after I bind the character, I like to throw a bunch of poses onto him.
Okay.
Um, and then that's where you can see the weighting kind of really break down.
Yeah.
Like this pose where like you can see like this is all weird and this is all messed up. So yeah, so after or during the waiting process, I'll throw them into a bunch of different poses, kind of like different poses that I probably will try and hit that are pretty close when I animate with them. So I want to make sure the weighting looks nice for um, in those cases. So yeah, so that is the step of just throwing a bunch of poses. I'll do like some extremes and see yeah, and see what's going on.
So as
But
you're
then
approaching this rig, do you
yeah,
have an animation in mind for it?
um, this is kind of like while I'm doing this stuff. That's kind of like the time where I'm thinking about what I want to animate with him. For this character, for Link, I'm thinking of something to do where he's kind of shield surfing a little bit. I'm a big snowboarding fan, so kind of want to
Yes.
incorporate that a bit.
Fun
So,
story. No, carry on, sorry.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know exactly what I'm doing right now, but this is where I'm looking at a bunch of reference. I'm looking at his game stuff, as well as just kind of like snowboarding videos, skateboarding videos, and
Cool. Sounds fun.
I'm putting something together in my head and like just let's see what I can come up with.
I'm super envious right now because I definitely wanted to do a shield surfing animation. Like I don't know why, there's something so appealing about that to me.
Yeah, totally. It's yeah, it's gonna be super fun.
Um, yeah, I went snowboarding for the first time like a week or two ago, because Canada, why not?
Mm.
And they're like, yeah, we got this tiny little mountain you can go on. It's like, whoa, this is so cool. It's 10 minutes away. Um, and someone was like, oh, do you want to borrow my shin pads? And I was like, no. And they were like, you sure? You haven't done it before, right? And I was like, no, I'll be fine. It's snow. It's soft. Yeah, I had like black knees. So I like
Yeah.
hobbled back into the shop and was like, hi. And then she looked at me and she was like, you wanted the lessons, right? And I was like, no, I just wanted to know if you had any shin pads. And she's like, oh, we don't sell those. I was like, okay, yep, that's fine. That's fine. I'm not in pain. It's cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Especially if you don't know how to fall, like that can be devastating.
yeah,
I
like,
mean,
because
it's
you just catch
rough.
an edge and then you just go wham, it's like straight on your knees a couple times and it's like, whoa, whoa, that is a lot. Um,
That's,
and then I ended up going home and getting my shin pads, and then we went out that night. And as I was going out the door, someone was like, "Oh, do you want my elbow pads? And I was like, well, I haven't fallen on my elbows yet, so no. And
Snap
then,
cut to 2 minutes later.
yep, 2 minutes later, it was like wham, wham, wham. So I had like black elbows, black knees. But it was such a good time. It was such a good time. I just
Nice.
will definitely come better prepared next time.
So, Elise, for your 2D animation, you have a reference for that you're using?
No. Although, it is. So, the clip is from Critical Role. So, the character has already got like a design. So, I'm not like thinking of the character out of nowhere. But I haven't like done reference or anything. I just kind of wanted to try out just figuring out what 2D was like first. That makes sense. But I keep messing up with the scale. As you can see, it's really hard to get that bit right, apparently. She keeps shrinking.
That's the biggest challenge of 2D animation is staying on model
Yeah.
and proportional. Like it's mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, the people who are actually good at it, aka not me, are just masters. I don't understand. Teach me your ways.
So for Krita, is there a max length to the animation?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But I've only been using it a couple weeks, so I wouldn't call myself an expert or anything. But yeah, what I like about it is a lot of people said like, oh, go out and get TV Paint or go and get what's the other one? Toon Boom. And TV Paint's like 250 euros, 500 euros, which if you are a 2D artist, that isn't very much money, you know, if you do it for
No, not
work.
at all.
But if you just want to mess around, you don't really care about having the latest everything, it's like, well, I might not even enjoy this, so I don't really want to shell out 500 euros just to try it. Although I do think there is a trial version, but I found that out later. So I started looking into like what other software could I use that's free, so that if someone else saw what I was doing and was like, oh, I'd like to try that, but I don't have the money for it, I could be like, well, don't worry, because it's free what I'm using.
Right.
And I also like the idea that I could be anywhere and be like, oh, I'll just download that thing again, and it's not yeah, it's not a paid for thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and Toon Boom has a pretty steep curve too, or not a steep curve, but a steep price point. Like I think it starts at $800
Oh.
just to get a license.
Yeah, so the only buggy thing about this is sometimes it just doesn't play like certain frames, so I've been going between these two, and there's already this one that exists but hasn't been telling me that. That's really helpful. Okay, that's completely messed that drawing up, but it kind of looks better than what I already had, so might just delete that one then.
And Henry, what are your plans for the face? Are you gonna try to go full-blown facial rig on this, or are you gonna be focusing a lot more on body animation?
Probably more body animations right now. I'd have to see what the face can do, because I'm not sure like if there's Geo to open his mouth and all that as well. So I'll go with what's easiest first. So that's probably gonna be weighting the head to like a couple bones, maybe like eyebrows, maybe a little bit of mouth movement, and then just kind of animate something where it's more action and less expressive in the face. And then if I wanted to do something with a heavier facial rig, I'll probably have to create some blend shapes or so, and maybe make a different rig, like a completely separate rig for that.
So you're planning on going the blend shape route then?
Maybe. Oh, it will depend. We'll see how it goes.
Now what about endgame? Are you gonna plan on putting this into a game engine, or are you just gonna do playbast renders, or just even Maya renders?
I think just my renders for this one. It'd be nice to get into a game engine, but that's a whole that takes a lot of time, I guess, because I guess to put it into a game, have running around and all that, like that involves a whole bunch of other steps. So
Yeah.
I'll keep it simple first, and if I really feel like hey, this would be awesome to throw it in the game and have a Link snowboarding thing, then maybe we'll do that and hopefully not get sued by anyone. But
Oh, you're talking about like an actual game?
is, oh, is that what you were asking? Like a
No,
game
no, I
in
was
here?
asking about, well, just, final product, like if how are you going to render this out, if you're going to render it at all.
Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah. No, usually I just render in my, and I found that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I love seeing Play Blast videos.
Yeah, me too. It's
Especially when people try to get really creative with like particle effects like that by using just geometry and primitives to make it work. That cracks me up. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great.
yeah. You working anything fun at the minute, David?
At the minute, no, I'm staring at you guys.
Me, in general.
Yeah, there is an animation I'm working on right now. It's something I've been kind of keeping on the back burner because of crunch time and whatnot.
Yeah, no doubt.
But yeah, I've been working on it on stream for a while.
Oh, cool.
Oh, cool. Is it that dancing one, or is that something?
No, the dancing one's done.
Oh, nice.
It should be up by now. I submitted that to AniMates, or not AniMates, AniMstate for them to put it up on their site and whatnot, but they've been kind of dragging their heels on the whole thing.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Yeah. So no, it's just like a little short thing. It's 22, 25 seconds long. Just a little confrontation between two people, and yeah, there's some things I wanted to try. Some animations I wanted to do, some poses I wanted to pull off that I'd never pulled off before, because production is can sometimes be very limiting. And so, just having fun with it.
Cool.
Cool.
It does sound fun.
Mm-hmm.
We're all in that experimental mode. Maybe it's just a January
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. The big thing for me was a lot of the animators I talked to, they're like, oh yeah, man, 3-point landings, 3-point landings. Everyone's done a 3-point landing at some point. It's like popping your cherry. It's just something animators have to do at some point in their life. And I'm like, oh, I haven't done a 3-point
Yeah,
landing.
no, neither have I, actually.
So it became my goal. I was like, I'm going to find something where I can do a 3-point landing, and I'm going to do that.
Nice, nice.
But there's also the stigma about 3-point landings that it's like way overused, and it's not really, ergonomic.
Okay.
People don't actually do a 3-point landing because it just wrecks every joint in their body. So I was trying to figure out a way to kind of ease out of that, but still have a 3-point touch and
That sounds fun.
good time. Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. So what? You said this is based on an existing character or something like that?
Yeah, it's this show called Critical Role. It's
Oh yeah.
these voice actors who get together once a week and play D&D for like 4 hours, and it just became like a habit that I listen to it at work, like just the audio, because they're voice actors, so it sounds great, and they're telling stories, so that is cool. So I've been watching that for like 2 years now, and then she's one of the characters on it. She's like a monk.
Gotcha.
And,
That's where Sedona is this week, or was?
yeah,
this week.
she's it's really cool. She got her work in the gallery and the book, so she's gone to like see her work in a gallery.
What
That's
is
cool.
this?
So, me and Sedona kind of connected on Twitter because she was drawing fan art for this show.
For Critical
Funnily
Role.
enough, yeah, Critical Role,
Okay.
and she did a bunch of fan art for it, and some of that got in. They did this like art book, which was so many people did so much great fan art that they made an art book. So that, going back a little, they have like a campaign 1 and a campaign 2. They're on campaign 2 now with like new characters, but they for like a year they had like a campaign 1. So they wanted to do like here's all the characters that you missed from campaign 1, and all the art that all these amazing people have put together of them. And she was one of the people that is in the thing, and
Oh,
is
wow.
on the walls and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty big deal. It's really cool.
You hear that, people? D&D brings people together.
Yeah, I think it literally started with like she was like doing a stream of these like chibi things, not chibi, I don't know, where they have the big eyes and big heads and little bodies, of the Critical Role cast, and I just like watched her stream. I was like, it looked really cool, and she's like, oh hey, I think I know you, and I was like, you know me? She's like, yeah, I've seen your animations. I was like, oh cool, let's hang out. Oh no, I tell you what it was. I found out she was in Canada, and I was like, oh hey, I'm coming to Canada soon. Let's be mates. You're an animator. You're in Canada. Any advice? And then I got her stream and was like, oh cool, she's into Critical Role.
Man, that is such a cultural difference. Like, if I went up to a random person, I was like, hey.
Just on Twitter.
I'd end up in prison. Like. So, Henry, with your rig.
Yeah.
The auto rigger obviously has a ton of features already built into it. Are there any others do you think you're going to have to add on top of it to kind of help you with your animation?
Yeah, definitely. I think. Well, I haven't dived too deeply into the rapid rig, like what extra stuff it has, but like I need to. Usually, I'll add like secondary chains for the hair, or like the props. Like I'll have to add just a simple joint chain, and like control rigs to kind of like for the shield here have. Whoops. Let's see. Turn on my joints. Can't see them, but yeah, just like simple things to make our lives easier, just to deform the shield and all that. So it's just stuff like that the auto rigger doesn't do. I'll just add, and I'll just kind of parent it onto the main rig or so.
Yeah, I actually ran into that situation recently. The adventure rig that Kyle Figgins has, the character comes with a spear. But the spear only has one control in it. It has no deformation ability. It didn't even have any joints in it. So I had to, do that by hand, and even do like visibility switching for like broken pieces and scaling and all sorts of stuff. But it's something that was needed in the animation, so you have to do it.
Yep.
Nice. Which rig was that from Kyle Figgins?
That was the adventurer one.
Adventurer. Oh, okay,
the
nice.
One that everyone uses, yeah.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
if you're gonna buy one, that's the one people do. So are the characters on Critical Role all in their underwear?
No. It's just because I tried doing it where she was fully clothed, and then I realized very quickly that was far too difficult to try and work out how to do the body and the garments of all the clothes as well. So I'm just trying to get like a first pass in her underwear. Although, to be fair, she does kind of wear like a top like this, so the top will probably stay, but then it's like she's got these like drapey things that go over it like this, or whatever, and then this is like going to be a belt, and like pants, and she's got like a necklace.
Yeah, that's a big problem with D&D character designs in general, is there's a ton of dangly bits all over them.
Yeah, I figure if I can
all
get the base of it looking
is...
that cool, then I'll go and do the rest of it. But until that point, I'll just do underwear. Yeah, it does look weird, doesn't it? That's the other show that I was looking at. There's a guy that does like Let's Animate 2D, or Let's Animate Together, or Let's Animate Krita, or something like that. And he does a bunch of cool like 2D stuff, and a lot of the time, like most of what he's drawing is like people in their underwear, and it's always a bit like weird. It's like, why are they always in their underwear? And now I'm that weird person where people are like, why does she only draw people in their underwear?
Because it's on YouTube. You have to put your underwear on YouTube, or else you get banned. If it was up to them, I'm sure everyone would be naked all the time. It doesn't help with D&D either that like even the like the races themselves also have so many dangly bits. It's either like tails or horns or feathers or something. Like there's always so much secondary emotion in there.
Yeah.
I can imagine it's gonna be so tough to animate.
I don't know, like at the end of the day, you're still animating like a piece of cloth over a human that's got bones and muscles and fat and wobbly bits, and I don't know, I'm hoping naively that once I tackle this, the rest of it won't be that difficult, but yeah, we'll see. It's probably not going to be the case. Also, I'm apparently terrible at drawing underwear correctly. I can't do it.
Well, how often does it come up?
I mean, probably not very often.
Yeah. I was on the animation I'm working on. It's funny how it kind of goes in tiers.
Mhm.
Like, so you're animating the character, and you're like, okay, well, I got to get some good overlap on the limb, then overlap on the facial features, and you think, okay, cool, I'm done. But then you realize, wait a minute, this person's covered in clothing, so now I got to do all the secondary motion for all the flaps and things like that.
Mhm.
And you're like, cool, now I'm done.
Oh, but
Then you
wait.
realize that they're covered in pouches and backpacks and hair and you're like, crap, how many levels are there to this?
This will never end.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out if I should automate it or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's
Worth it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do that motion builder from time to time, just the whole simming of bits.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. How do you
It's
do
way
that
easier.
motion builder?
They have a whole physics engine.
Oh, they
Oh.
do. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
so they have ragdoll and rigid bodies and soft bodies and all sorts of fun stuff.
Oh.
So it sims it, and then you bake out the keys or so.
Yes.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, that's neat. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And obviously Maya has the exact same stuff. It's just, it's not
Clunky.
motion builder. Yes. So motion builder's doing it at 60 frames per second, whereas Maya, it's like, okay, hold on 20 minutes, we'll
Yeah.
get back to you.
I never got my head around the dynamic stuff. We had like a whole module on it at uni, and I did it, but man, the amount of time it took just to get something looking vaguely realistic was like, I'll just animate it. I don't care.
Yeah, there's a reason why it's a separate discipline. Like,
Yeah.
you can't just like wake up and be like, oh well, let me just add this on top real quick. It's challenging.
Yeah. Speaking of challenging
I thought that'd be
things.
kind of a fun thing to do is doing cloth and hair sim for games.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would
totally.
be a fun thing to kind of delve into. But it's kind of like rigging. It's like, yeah, if it's okay to like kind of dip your toe into it, but if you commit way too much to it, you're going to be suffering in other areas too.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. You gotta. Time is so precious that you're like, oh, I'll do this for fun for a while, and then you're like, okay, how much is this serving me? Is it serving me on like a creative level that's making me better at work? Okay, cool. Maybe I'll keep doing it. Is it technically not helping me that much, and also it's becoming kind of a good drag? Well, maybe I'll give it up then.
Yeah. That always
Yeah.
bummed me out in school,
What
where
did-
they, like when I went through school, it said, hey, there's going to be, you can't do everything.
Yeah, and you're
You're
like,
gonna
what?
have to find something to kind of specialize in, and there's gonna be 2 things you love, and 2 things you absolutely hate. And I was like, no, what? Come on, me and my arrogant ass. Like I'm sitting there in month 2, being like, no, I can do everything. Absolutely, it should be completely fine.
See, I never.
Then compositing
yeah.
happened.
Ah,
Everything turned upside.
oh man, I never had that. I always wanted to be an animator. Always, always. I'm a bit one-dimensional, unfortunately. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm gonna really broaden my skills. Oh, cool. What are you gonna get into? Like, I don't know, something completely crazy different. Yeah, 2D animation. It's like, at least I hate to break it to you, but it's not really pushing the boat out. It's like, no, it is.
Yeah, it's like switching from a motorcycle to a bicycle.
Yeah. Yeah. That's an interesting way of putting it. Oh man, this is so difficult.
I like that model of Link.
Yeah,
very
it's pretty
cute.
cool.
Who was it again that made the model?
Here, let me name. It's Philemon Balom.
was a
Butchering the
mouthful.
pronunciation. Yeah. But apparently he did it for a test that they host on ArtStation, and I believe he won. So yeah, he's a really, really awesome character. Have you guys
I have no
played?
idea how to follow that. Can you put a link in chat real quick?
Yes.
There it is. Okay, cool. Thank you.
No worries.
So, Elise, how long is your animation going to end up being, do you think?
Well, the whole thing is quite a bit longer. I don't know, it depends how successful it goes. If I can find a method that I like and that works, then I'll probably just continue and do it for the rest of it. But I do want to have like at least a section of it like fully finished, depending on how much patience I have. So
How long? That'll be like 5-10 seconds.
Let's see, what is it with the audio? Oh, it's not muted. Oh, is that it? No. I don't know if this is going to go on forever or go to the end of the audio. I think it goes to the end of the audio. No, I think this might be going on forever. I think it's about 300 frames long, I think.
So 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's a lot, isn't it?
That's a ton.
Yeah, I don't think I'll get that far.
Yeah, especially with a new medium, it can be tough. Like, I
Yeah.
remember 2 seconds of animation in 3D for us, it's kind of, par for the course. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But I remember doing 2 seconds of 2D animation, and by the end of that, I was crying, bleeding. My left arm was missing for some reason, and the animation was just like all over the place. I'm like, this is not fair.
I would be happy just doing like this bit, but like it looks perfect. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I'm not so worried about doing the whole thing as much as I am about being like, okay, I now know I can go from step 1 to step 10 and it look half decent, because I'm still working that out. And I realize that my drawing skills are much to be desired, but it's all practice.
Yeah, there's something so beautiful about sublime 2D animation. Like, just even like 2 seconds of something on a loop that just looks absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
There's just something so beautiful about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I always like really admired people who could do 2D, so it's nice to just like dip my toe in and not have the pressure of being amazing at it, and can just be kind of rubbish at it if no one's going to be like, oh my god, you'll never find a job, or whatever. It's like, well, I already have a job, so it's fine. Like,
The rest of you can shut up.
I don't know. Like, I feel like usually when you're learning something, it's for an end goal. I do have a 2D short film idea that came to me the other day that I really would love to make that as my, like, I didn't really make any New Year's resolutions, but that is not a bad one if I decide to go that way. But it depends how successful I can be in doing this first before anything else.
Yeah, I had one of our producers come up to me last week because he wanted to do a animated short.
Yeah.
And he was going to do it in 2D, and he's like, do you have any advice for doing shorts? And I was like, start small.
Yeah.
Like, start like way smaller than you think. Like, he was thinking about doing 2 minutes. I was like, no, you don't.
No.
Do 30 seconds tops.
That's my
Matter of fact,
plan.
do 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Do a whole short in 5 seconds, because the amount of time you have to put into it is just obscene.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
And that's one of those questions that I get asked a lot is, hey, I plan on doing this for my project, or I plan on doing this for my project. And I actually went and did a lot of research on it at one point. I took like 10 different shorts, and I did research into what their whole production time and cost was. And I have yet to find an animated short that took less than 2 years with less than 8 to 10 people. Like, it is a huge endeavor just to get a minute of animation out there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Of a whole new IP.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I as said, would not go into it lightly, because I've tried before and had the same roadmap blockers and stuff. But I thought, this is a cool idea. If I get time to do it and slowly work on it over the next couple years or whatever it takes, then that would be a really cool little thing to do. But
yeah,
we'll see.
So Libra Geek asked, can you give us a hint about what your short would be about, Elise?
I don't really want to give too much away.
How about a genre?
Genre? I don't want to give it a genre because it kind of demeans it.
Interesting. Okay.
it's a little love story
Oh.
with a twist.
That works.
That just like came to me as I was doing research for 3D stuff at work, and it just kind of popped in my head. It's like, this would be a really cute idea, and I was like, oh yeah, it'd be really fun to actually like do the designs for a character and do the storyboards and all that jazz. But you know, we'll see. This is a big thing.
I love it. Let's go to Kickstarter right now.
I'll back it.
You guys are sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty ambitious goal for. I still don't know how to do 2D. Let's make a 2D animated short. Yeah, you want to slow your horses a bit. Anyway, it's more of a back burner idea, as like a. Maybe one day. But you know.
So Henry, I'm curious about your weighting methods here.
Yes, they're not good.
So when you first started painting weights, how did you set it up? Did you just do Maya's basic smooth bind?
Yes, I just did the smooth bind. I just set it to like 3 joints per vertex or so. And it gives you an okay binding, and now I'm just painting the weights. I know there's better ways to do this, but I haven't painted weights in a while, so I'm just kind of doing. Whoa.
When I figured out that the component editor was a thing, my skinning game changed like 100%.
Wait, what's that?
Okay, so the
Henry.
Okay, so when
I know, right?
Yeah. So are you joking?
No,
You're not being sarcastic, right?
I might know it.
No.
Yeah. So
Hold on. I'm gonna look it up real quick. I'm gonna.
It's
Because that's definitely a mandatory thing for skinning.
Yeah, it is. It's really helpful because what it is it tells you exactly how many joints are affected that one vert, and
okay. Yes.
and
it's like
what
a table.
exactly.
Yes. Okay.
And
you are familiar with it then.
It just helped me a lot because it went from like, why the hell is this acting weird, and trying to like paint it out, to being like, oh, I can just grab this whole selection and be like, don't be influenced by this one thing. And it was like, oh, well, that was easy.
Nice. I was looking for this. I forgot what it was called, so thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So, see, definitely don't do what I do.
We're all learning here. Don't do what I do either. Go look at one of the people who knows what they're doing.
There you go, everyone. Component editors save lives.
Component editor.
She's definitely getting skinnier again. Fucking hell. I don't know why I want to make her skinny.
This is crazy.
It's always
for me.
fun with discoveries about the component editor too. Like, it turns out for some reason your left big toe is like a top priority for weighting for some reason.
Yeah.
Every single vertex on your rig is drawn to your big toe. At least a little bit.
Yeah. Oh man, component editor. I should have been using this more.
But there's nothing more satisfying than grabbing like an entire column and just setting it to 0.
Yep.
Oh, that feels good. I love it.
Man.
Just animator things. Or I guess rigger things. We can't take all the credit. I think this is throwing me off.
Well, I'm gonna do that right now. Set this to 0.
So, Elise, how many drawings have you done since we started streaming?
Oh, not very many. Like 2? 1?
Yeah.
I did this one. Wait, is it this one? This one. Which actually already existed, so I accidentally just kind of redrew. Yeah, this one. But then I was cleaning up a bunch of other stuff. So, and then now I'm trying to do. Where is it? This one. Between these two. But it's giving me a bit of a head fuck.
Yeah, I haven't gotten very far either.
That's the
Until the
thing.
component editor.
And rigging does not have a lot of visual results to it.
No.
Like, because you're still working on the same thing.
Yeah.
That one object.
I'm gonna switch to something else then.
No, it's all good. We're already at 2:15 here.
Oh yeah, man.
Or 5:15 or
Oh wow.
time zones.
Time flies.
Yeah.
How's it
And
been being a moderator today? Have you enjoyed it?
I am crazy distracted by my own face. That bothers me.
That's kind of adorable.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, there it is. Oh.
Yeah. Somebody get that jackass out of the middle of the screen.
No, but I like that we could do this kind of stuff because I feel like I've said it a lot before. Like it's a shame no one's doing doing actual 3D animation right now. But it's kind of interesting that we're all doing our own like non-animation projects that still relate to 3D animation. But I just feel like seeing someone's workflow not sped up, not this, that, and the other, is actually like a really rare thing. You just don't get to see that very often, and I think to be able to do that is pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Or even just to be like, yeah, I work doing this, but I can still do other creative things. Badly. Haha. Well, not in Henry's case, obviously, but...
What was that?
I'm just mocking my own skills.
Oh, no. No, my rigging and painting weights leaves much to be desired.
Where'd your rig go? What did you do?
I put it on hold for a bit because it's not too fun watching that. But I'm just gonna load up an animation that I'm working on, the Kyle Figgins rig. If you guys can see this.
Yeah, rigging is very close to programming. Where I've done rigging streams before, but it's a lot of the time you just sit there and you're just like, why isn't this working?
Yeah.
What is wrong? What is connecting to this? And for some reason my hip bone is connected to my forehead. And I don't know what's happening here. Like,
I love it.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Like I did one stream where I was just trying to make the pupils dilate on a rig. That was it.
Yeah.
And it took something crazy like 2 hours because I was trying to, navigate through somebody else's work and being like, well, why is this connected to this? What is this? What does this know? This is something custom. I don't have this. What am I going to do? This is all just...
Yeah.
Oh, one thing I found that was quite interesting when I started doing the 2D stuff, I had like one weekend where I was like, chill out, just on the couch, nothing like stressful, but just the fact that I was doing something that was completely new and I was having to think so hard about it, like it really tired me out just doing like a couple hours of that. And I was like, wow, it's you don't think about how much you have to think about 3D animation and the skill that you do as your job until you try something new and you're like, oh my god, this is exhausting, like trying to concentrate and think this hard about something completely new. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
not
it takes
that
a lot
you
of
don't
mental-
have to do that with 3D, just like, I don't know, just when it's
Well,
so new, I guess.
Yeah, you have to like just exert a lot of mental energy.
Yeah, and I just like
yeah.
stopped and it was like, oof. Like,
Yeah, and it's tough if you're trying to stream it. Like you want to try to when I stream, I try to remain entertaining to my viewers and keep them involved and whatnot. But rigging and programming are not conducive to that at all. Like one, it's not visually appealing, and two, there's so much frustration involved with it. It's
yeah, it's funny though, because
you
I
get
used to
all the
think,
mental efforts.
like no one would ever watch anyone do 3D, because if you watch like someone do concept art, it's like, wow, that drawing looks amazing or whatever. And if you watch someone model or sculpt, it's like, wow, that's so cool how you're creating that out of clay. And then if you watch someone animate, it's like, okay, this will be a thing in like 40 days. But then there are quite a few people doing it now that, like, I love watching it, and I would have loved watching it as a student, but I don't know, I feel like things are more interesting to people outside the people who were doing the, I don't know what I'm saying.
Almost.
Almost.
Wasn't sure what you were saying at the end there.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It got mumbled. Something like... No, I've lost it. I got distracted by her rib cage, and I've gone.
If I had a nickel for every time I got distracted by a rib cage.
This is great.
Yeah, it's be like, hey, I'm doing this thing. It's like, what are those?
I don't think this is...
I was really concerned about that too, just having animation streams.
Yeah.
Because you could spend like 20 minutes on a pose and be like, I swear to God, this is a lot more fun than it looks. Like,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
something I thought
And
about.
then-
I was like, what if I like put people off doing it because it looks so boring when I'm doing it, but I'm having a whale of a time. But
Yeah.
so a lot of times you have to be like, wait, look at this play blast. It's
Yeah.
I promise it's interesting. You just have to watch
Yeah.
for like 18 more hours. I remember saying something like that to like a modeler friend of mine. I was like, "Oh, modeling's so boring. Like all you do is you just move verts around all day." And they were like, "Elise, like all you do is like move like controllers and verts and like curves around all day." And I was like, "Well, yeah, I guess if you put anything in that way, then it sounds boring." And they were like, "Yeah." I was like, "Sorry."
that's a very low key way of saying, what do you even do? Why do they pay you?
Well, let me explain.
Yeah. But I've run into that situation too with classrooms. Like I volunteer to go present at high schools, colleges, middle schools, whatever, whenever people need me,
Yeah,
just to kind of explain what game development is or animation is and that kind of thing.
yeah.
And I remember the first time I did it, I tried animating a walk cycle in front of people.
Oh.
Oh.
That room died. Like I had a fun presentation, people really laughing and getting into it, and then as soon as I started animating, the energy level in the room
It's
just
like, oh,
floored.
is this
Like, it was
it?
so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I ended up having to do was instead of doing animating, I pulled up a face rig. I'm like, okay, we're gonna make this. There's 6 different emotions. You tell me which emotion we want to do, and then you tell me how to make something. So it's the kind of back and forth. It's like, okay, well, if you want to do happy, how do you make this person look happy? And since
Oh,
they're not
that's a
familiar
good
with-
idea.
since they're not familiar with anatomy or how like the face works, they guess wildly. Like, and they don't even know things like how to do reference.
Oh,
None of
that's
them
such
are
a
sitting
great
there like
idea.
making faces, whatever. So they'll just like shoot for the blue. They'll be like, okay, well, what if you just pulled like the corner of the mouth off, or what if you made the
Yeah.
eye do this, or and 9 times out of 10 it gets out of hand fast, and it's so much fun.
Oh, that's
Because-
a really nice idea, actually.
That sounds awesome.
Because then they start doing things like, well, can we give her a mohawk, or can we have her do this? Can we change her skin color to blue? Can we do it? It's just
Yeah.
they really get into it at the end.
Yeah. Do you ever have that where I always had to do a lot of like, oh, there's this important person coming around, like they're gonna come over, and you have to look like you're animating all this cool stuff like really quickly and really well, out of nowhere. You know, where you get like a school of kids, or you get some important person in the company, or some outside group, or a TV show thing, or you know, and you have to be like, this is not how I would ever normally animate, but I'm just gonna like keep moving all the curve editor around and then but you can't actually work because you don't have the mental energy to try and do anything while they're there because it would be too slow. So you just kind of like muck
You
about.
even change your body language to something unrealistic, like you're up close like this.
Yeah,
and
like,
you're
oh, this is so
oh
difficult.
man, I'm super into this right now. You guys seeing this?
Yeah, because
This is
otherwise
super
it would because otherwise it would just
I'm
be
a
like
really good employee.
it's like otherwise it would just be your gormless face and it would look like, oh, well, this is kind of depressing. Like they're obviously hate their job or something, and it's like, no, wait, come back. It's really fun.
Yeah. Nowadays, I just pull up solitaire.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Like they're trying to show everything really cool at the studio, and I'm just like, what? Who are you guys? Shit, I'm kind of busy here. Can you just-
Yeah, can you go away, please? You're distracting
Yeah.
my score or whatever.
All right. Well, it's actually 2:30 now, so we're already beyond the limit.
Oh yeah. Do we have any
What was
last
good
minute
about-
questions that anyone wants to ask? Like-
Yeah, because I was about to hop off here. So if you guys want to keep working, I mean, we've already got the stream set up, and you guys are already into it. But I got a whole bunch of stuff. I
I'm
need to
good,
get
but
done today.
I don't want to keep you guys. So
Yeah, I gotta bounce
Easy.
pretty soon as well.
Okay.
okay.
So, any last questions from any of our platforms we have going on right now?
Yeah, because I forgot that it's like multi-stream mode.
Yeah.
I'm quite happy that will worked eventually with some trial and error. Sounds like we're good.
Cool. I think
Yep.
just more
Yeah, I think
product
so.
placements. I think that's the key.
Trying super hard. So help me God, we're gonna get some free peace tea out of this.
Okay, we good?
Yeah, I think so.
Don't want to keep you guys for the whole of your day off. So,
So,
yeah, why don't you close
For all
up
of
the
you
stream?
who,
Yeah.
for all of you still sticking around, thank you so much for joining us today. We will be back on again next week, where we'll be doing an interview with Alan.
Alan.
Have you said?
Yep.
Excellent. That's going to be really exciting, actually.
It's gonna
I'm
be
really stoked
yeah.
about
I can't
going
wait
into
to
animation tools.
yeah, like hear about like where he came up with the idea to do it, and what some of his favorite ones that he created, and just like the whole thing is going to be super interesting. So I really can't wait for that to go down. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, awesome.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we will catch you all
Ooh,
next time.
I've got to do the stop the thing. Hang on.
All right, see you guys.
All right, see
Later.
you guys. See you next time. Bye. Wait.